So happy early New Year's. I don't know when exactly this video is going to go out. It might be the 31st of December, it might be the 1st of January, but either way, Happy New Year. Hopefully you guys are all safe, and if you're seeing this after New Year's, hopefully you had a great time with loved ones. For me personally, my state is on a stricter lockdown than it has ever been, so here's hoping that by the end of January 2021, things will look a little better for everyone, because right now things are about as scary as getting your stepsister pregnant accidentally. Anyways, on that weird note, let's talk about video games. These are the best games that I played in 2020. Notice I said that I played, and not all of these games released this year. These are just games that I threw the most time at while I was stuck on quarantine. And also let me know, what games have you guys been playing the most this year or even recently? I'm still looking for games to waste money on. I have an addiction. With that being said, let's start off on the first game, which for me was Horizon Zero Dawn on the PC. This game had a very rocky launch. I think it was for like the first 2 months. It was damn near unplayable regardless of what type of PC you had. People on high-end PCs couldn't even boot the game up. People on low-end PCs can boot it up, but wasn't even able to run a stable 30 FPS when even theoretically their builds should be able to. It was almost like Sony purposefully botched that launch just to say, hey, look at that. Even your $3,000 PC can't run Sony exclusives. Just buy a PlayStation, dude. It's so much easier. But as of this recording, technically January 1st, 2021, this game's ran like a dream. I haven't had any problems, no audio bugs, no visual issues, and coming from someone that's beaten it a bunch of times on PlayStation, way better on PC. It's definitely worth buying it again on PC just for the uncapped frame rate. So for those of you that own it on PlayStation, I recommend going for it on PC. If you guys have never played this game, in short, it's a post-apocalyptic open world RPG. It's got very light RPG elements. It's still technically an RPG, but there are some skill trees you can grind for. There is light crafting involved, like finding plants to craft health potions, or finding wood, or scavenging robotic carcasses for pieces of metal so that way you can craft arrows. Nothing too in depth, but it's enough to give a little extra incentive to go hunting for specific dinosaur types. It also has a pretty good story. I'm not gonna go too in depth because I don't want to ruin it, but you basically take the role of Aloy, who is an outcast, and then after a series of events, she's finally accepted into her tribe, and then she's hell-bent on her revenge quest. That is all you're getting. But it's a good story, it's got some great gameplay, and it's honestly one of my favorite games of all time. I highly recommend it. Next up is actually an FPS. 80% of these games are FPSs. Fair warning. But it is Ultra Kill. Ultra Kill is a fast-paced first-person shooter, actually in early access. In its current build, you get a total of 17 levels. 2 of those are secret levels, 8 bosses, 8 enemies, 4 weapons. Each weapon has about 2 to 3 variations, 2 difficulty modes, and 2 different arms, which I'm assuming they're considering the arms as part of the weapons, and it seemingly has a lot more content to come. And do note, as more content releases, the price of this game is going to increase. So in the words of the devs, buy early, save money. But I'd also recommend trying out this game's demo before you invest any money, as I know some people have gotten sick from this game's graphics, believe it or not. And this game is very fast paced. If you play Doom Eternal and you've gotten accustomed to quick weapon swapping, then you should be right at home with this game. You have a slide mechanic, you have a dash mechanic. When you're in the air, that slide mechanic can become a ground slam, and upon impact, enemies within that radius will be tossed up in the air, which will allow you to get some more stylistic kills to boost your overall score, which in turn will translate to currency to buy some more weapons. For another indie early access game, there's so much to talk about this game. You have the ability with one of your arms to actually deflect enemy projectiles back at them, or with that same arm you can actually hit your shotgun shells to make your shells fire faster, and they explode upon impact. In this game you also have a revolver. A lot of these guns in this game actually have alternate firing modes, and the revolver's alternate firing mode is you'll toss a coin in the air, and if you can hit that coin's then going to travel to a critical spot on the closest enemy. Which, fun fact, if you're good enough, you can actually hit that coin with a railgun and everything explodes. I'm not that good enough. Don't expect me to show that type of gameplay. Oh, and the nice cherry on top is the way that you regenerate your health in this game. You have to literally shower yourself in enemies' blood. Fresh blood. So if you're taking a lot of damage, you need to get up close and personal with the closest enemy that you can and literally make them bleed on you to get your health back. Gameplay wise, it's one of the most addicting games I've ever played. Like I said earlier, a total of 17 levels. 2 of those are secret levels that you have to find. If that doesn't sound like enough gameplay, you also have a cyber grind mode, which is basically a round-based horde mode until you die. Then you can reset and start all over, and the arena constantly changes, and the enemy combinations recommendations do as well. It's a game that's definitely gonna be worth it in the long run, and I highly recommend it. Continuing on the trend of early access, next we have Proteus. This game is only about a month old. It's actually more expensive than Ultra Kill and objectively has less content. We'll get to why that is in just a second, but while Ultra Kill is a little bit more fast paced, Proteus is riding a little bit harder on the Doom clone vibe. Music is great, gameplay is awesome, all the guns sound like they got some good heft to them. The music is made by Mick Gordon, and alongside Ultra Kill, even though the art style is both drastically different between the two, Proteus has just as much gore in it, and I actually love it for that. Just like Ultra Kill, the weapons in this game also have alternate firing modes, the best weapon of which is the quad shotgun, which you can argue probably puts the super shotgun to shame in Doom. And with this shotgun you can fire all 4 barrels separately, or in its alternate mode you can fire all 4 shots in one go. It's also worth noting, Ultra Kill is way more faster paced than Proteus. Proteus doesn't have a slide or a dash mechanic. All it has is you can run forward, you can run backwards. The movement definitely suffices. It still is a fast paced shooter. You just don't have any of that flashy sliding or dashing. You do have quick weapon swapping in this game as well though. That is a positive. I mean, this game would be a solid recommendation if it wasn't for that lack of content that I mentioned earlier though. If the percentage is any indication of how much of the campaign you're actually paying for, as of right now you're paying for 15% of the campaign that the development team has made. The game is really just relying on fan-made maps right now. The game does have a level editor so anybody can create maps, and some of them are actually really good. Some of the maps that I've played have been way more hectic than anything I've faced in the campaign. The campaign's great. Some of those maps are solid 10 out of 10s, others are major flops, so just beware that that is what you're basically buying. You're buying a Doom clone that's relying very heavily on community-made content as of right now. I have high hopes for Proteus in the future. Just like Ultra Kill, the price is going to go up when more content comes out, so this is something that you're going to want to look into. I don't think this game has a demo. Oh, and by the way, that 15% of the total campaign in reality is about 2 hours, but there's leaderboards if that's something that you care about, so that's cool. Next up, I mean, this one was a given. Doom Eternal. Considering I have the attention span of a goldfish and I have played Doom Eternal pretty much exclusively for at least 6 months of the entire year, that's saying a lot, and about 98% of that time was spent just on the campaign. I don't really touch battle mode. And if you're playing on a PC, then replayability should double considering there are mods for this game. I mean, I'm not going to kiss this game's ass all that much. I mean, I think there's plenty of people that can do that way better than I can. All I will say is currently the game is on sale. I highly recommend you hop on that, assuming that things turn around this upcoming year. Then Doom Eternal should be getting invasion mode. It should be getting the second DLC, hopefully some extra content as well, as a sort of small thank you to everyone that's been bearing with this game during its ups and downs. I mean, that's wishful thinking, I know, but Doom Eternal was a phenomenal game and I can't recommend it enough. Next up, we have Hades. I figured if this game was good enough to beat Doom Eternal at the Game Awards, then it's gotta be worth my time. And damn, you know, initially when I first seen this game, I actually just kind of brushed it off because at first glance, it doesn't look like my type of game. It's roguelike, it's got that top-down camera angle, which I don't really like games like that, and it was just something that kind of flew under my radar. But after playing this game for almost 10 hours, I can't put it down. If you guys have never heard of Hades, it's a roguelike indie game where you play as the son of Hades on his quest to escape from the underworld. You gotta go through all these angry souls, some occasional bosses. I don't get that far, I die constantly.
We're finished here.
And then every time upon your death, you go back to your room, reflect in your mirror, and that is where you spend some of the stuff that you have acquired to get yourself strong enough to hopefully get a little further next time. It's a game that I've heard be described as something that's incredibly hard, but as you continuously die, get your character stronger, eventually you're just gonna breeze right through it because you're strong enough to just wipe the floor with everyone. I'm hoping. With my experience, I'm hoping. But from the music, to the art style, and even the combat, I mean, it's a phenomenal game. Indie games that capture my attention I feel are worth sharing because I don't like indie games in general, and I feel like this year was a year where a lot of indie developers really got their chance to shine. Anyways, if you get the chance, check out Hades. It's almost like life, where you die a little every single time and you just look in the mirror and hate yourself more. And finally, this is probably the oldest game, well, with the exception of Horizon Zero Dawn, this is the oldest game on the list. It's something that I've actually avoided. I've heard a lot of good things about this game, but every time it's brought up in the sense of graphic fidelity and not so much gameplay wise, so I've always brushed it off. And I gotta say, I kind of hate myself for putting it off for so long. And that game is Control. Control is a third-person action-adventure game developed by Remedy. Remedy is the same team that developed the first two Max Payne games. Now, this is a single-player experience, and to give you a basic rundown of the story, I mean, it's kind of confusing, but the basic gist is the setting revolves around a secret US government agency known as the Federal Bureau of Control, or the FBC. And the FBC is in charge of investigating paranatural phenomena which defy the known laws of reality. I mean, this is my first time playing this game. I'm not that far in it, but the main character you're playing as is known as Jessie. She's also looking for her brother. Early on in the game, you come across this weapon known as the service weapon, which has different forms. You have the normal semi-automatic single-shot pistol. You have the shatter version of it, which basically turns it into a shotgun. The piercer, which turns it into a sniper rifle. The spin, which makes it basically become a little machine gun. You also have supernatural abilities. Later on, you learn how to levitate. Right now, I've got the abilities of generating a shield around myself. You can knock enemies back. You can pick up any object in the environment and fling it at them. Later on, you can upgrade said abilities to make yourself even stronger. Initially, when you first acquire the shield ability, you can't throw the debris at enemies, but later on, as you upgrade yourself, you can get that ability. You can increase your energy pool. You can increase the damage from launched objects from your telekinetic abilities. The gameplay is incredibly addicting. And I gotta say too, Control, as much as I hate saying this because I always see it promoted as, again, a graphic-based game where that's really what everyone talks about. They don't talk about the gameplay, but it's true. This is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. And the majority of this game takes place inside the headquarters of the FBC, so if you end up inside an office with a bunch of enemies, it's weirdly satisfying to pick up a couch with your telekinetic abilities, fling it across the office, and as it's flying, you see all these papers flying in the air, all these chairs being knocked over from this couch you just flung, explosions from a fire extinguisher or a light fixture, all while you knock 3 or 4 enemies unconscious because that couch is weirdly large. It's got that wonderful Michael Bay effect where it's fun to throw shit, but it's awesome to see random explosions going off as shit gets thrown. And that's still kind of just scratching the surface. There's so many collectibles that you can find. There's FBC documents that you'll be picking up. There's tape recorders that you'll find that you can go back and watch, and what you'll find on those tape recorders are, let's say, a clip of one of the FBC trainers telling everyone what the service weapon is or what the astral plane is, or finding documents and learning why the FBC building is currently on lockdown and how it came to be. It's a game that I honestly slept on for way too long, and it's one that I strongly encourage that you take a look into. Weirdly enough, this is another game that's actually on sale, at least on Steam, until January 5th. Those are some of the best games that I played these last couple months, last month, I guess. I've also been enjoying Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I haven't put as much time into that game as I have with the ones that I mentioned here. But like I said earlier, let me know what you guys think down below about these games. What have you guys been playing recently? If there's any game recommendations that you want to share, please feel free to do so. But like always, guys, my name is Cynic. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy 2021, and here's to a hopefully better year for everyone.